This afternoon at 2:52 p.m, South Australia Police received reports of a fight between youth in the food court. At that time we had information that the fight involved three of those offenders, some of them armed with expandable batons. Police responded, and by the time police had got to the centre, Westfield had enacted their emergency procedures, and they were following their procedures that take place during the information and the incident that they had and they were dealing with. Police worked very closely with Westfield, and obviously we escalated our response to ensure the safety of all patrons in the centre. Some of those patrons had sheltered in place and some had individually evacuated. It was our job to work very closely with Westfield to clear the centre and ensure that all safety of all customers within the centre could be ensured. That took us a few hours, but we have to the point now where we were able to safely clear the centre with our specialist police and allow people that were still sheltered in place to leave. In terms of the incident, I have looked at the CCTV. It involves three youth, and I will call them boys under 18 years of a Caucasian appearance. They approach another group of boys and an altercation occurs. The expandable batons are seen, and at this stage we can't discount any other weapons, but we do have some reports that a knife may be involved. Those three boys chased the other boys through the centre, and through the CCTV we were able to see that they entered the David Jones store, and that was the first part of our focus of where we put our specialist attention to start clearing the centre to ensure that the safety of all people could be ensured. At this stage we know the identity of the two of the victims. I would say that it's clear from the vision that this is not a random attack. The boys would appear to be known to each other, but obviously we're still in the early days of investigation of the incident, and we have our investigators here again reviewing the CCTV, trying to make sure that the information we had can be verified in some way. But as I say, the incident really involved three boys approaching another group of boys. We're not clear on the intention of that at this stage, but I stress that it does not appear to be a random attack, and it does not appear that the three boys were intending on targeting anyone else in the centre. We obviously still have a lot of police here on scene, and that will continue until the centre is fully clear. We are working very closely with Westfield, and it may be fortuitous, but Wednesday week ago we had an exercise with Westfield where we basically ran through an incident that involved an active armed offender here at Westfield. So what that does is highlights the practices that we have in place with these major centres for this very type of incident where the centre may go into its emergency procedures. And I would add that those procedures are part of Westfield's procedures. Police will work closely with them, but by the time the first police arrived, the centre had already put in place its emergency procedures.
Is anyone injured during the incident?
No one was injured as a result of the altercation between the boys. I am aware that in the evacuation process, we had a female who I believe is 77 years of age might have fallen and suffered a fracture. And I also understand there was a girl around the age of 14 who again might have been injured during the evacuation process. But at this stage, to the best of my information, no one was injured in the altercation between the boys.
Are we still actively looking for people in this altercation?
We are, yes. Whilst we believe we had some very good lines of inquiry, we are still very keen to speak to the three boys who instigated this particular incident. And as I said, it's clear from the vision that they were armed with weapons, clearly expandable batons, and the information about other weapons being involved is still being investigated. The last indications we had were through the David Jones store. That was why David Jones was the first part of our attention, and I stress that this has nothing at all to do with David Jones. It's just that early indication of where police needed to put their first piece of attention, really.
So the three boys are still at large with the weapons?
Yes, Yes.
What would your message be? That this is going live at the moment. What would your message be to these boys that are on the
I'd say certainly they've been involved in an altercation in a very major shopping centre, and what that's caused the centre to do is go into its emergency procedures. So whilst they thought they were involved in an altercation between some people they may have known, they have severely inconvenienced all shoppers at this centre. Now that inconvenience is on the basis of making sure everyone here is safe. So I encourage these boys to hand themselves into police. Perhaps they didn't intend for this to occur, but they need to understand the consequences of their actions, and that those consequences involve people's safety is absolute number one priority.
Given your CCTV that you have in this shop, do you think there will be any trouble identifying the offenders?
No, I'm confident that at this stage we should be able to locate these boys, but I do encourage anyone with information who knows their identity or has vision or any observations of what occurred and hasn't been spoken to by police. Obviously there are a large amount of people in the centre at the time and we're not able to speak to anyone, but there are some very good inquiries currently underway which I believe should lead to their identity.
So we haven't seen anything like this before.
I believe the last of the people are coming out. Obviously we've got some of the retailers as well, so in terms of the procedure where the shelter in place situation may take place, some of those retailers may still be coming out of the centre. Obviously we still have a lot of police here and we will be going through the centre to make sure that it is clear. There are functions that operate out of ours as well here as well. So
Are the boys
haven't seen-
involved in the altercation known to police at all?
at this stage I can't confirm that. The CCTV is very good and we are working very closely with Westfield on those lines of inquiry.
We haven't seen such a heavy police presence and a response like this to an incident like this in a shopping centre. Have things changed since the Bondi attack?
I think they have. I mean, if you look at the reason we were exercising with centres like Westfield regularly anyway, but the active armed offender scenario that was played out Wednesday week ago is very much about training for this type of activity. So whilst it's not something we want to do, it's part of our job and it's part of making sure the community is safe. So these types of reactions to these incidents very much are influenced by incidents like Bondi. And certainly the reason we exercise with Westfield is closely linked to that type of incident. So we have a fantastic relationship with these retailers, and the exercising is what allows us to put in place a very good response.
And is this sort of a counter-terrorism response if that's the group that it's come from in terms of how you respond?
Well, these are our specialist police, so we're dealing with the weapons. Sometimes the information that we're given in the early stages is not clear, so we need to act accordingly, and acting accordingly means bringing along our specialist police who are trained and exercised in these types of incidents.
You've done the training and now you've had the real thing play out. What lessons can now be learned having done two scenarios?
Well, there's always opportunities for improvement. We always debrief our exercises and we always debrief our major incidents. So any particular issues that come out of these type of incidents will certainly be reviewed, and we'll be looking at our practices and procedures as I expect Westfield to be doing, and we will come together with them at an opportune time to debrief this particular incident. At the moment we're still in a response phase, and until we can get past that response phase and absolutely guarantee the safety of everyone at this centre, the police will remain here, and then absolutely part of our issues going forward is debriefing this particular incident.
Scott, do you feel that this was the right response from police today?
Oh, absolutely. We live in uncertain times and it's our job to ensure community safety.
Is there any chance that the offenders are still in?
I don't believe so, but the reason the police are still here is for that very reason. We will go through a thorough process to make sure the centre is safe.
What about those places here that will continue to operate until Sunday night? Can you go back to the cinema and watch a movie?
Oh, well, the centre is open for those activities. Obviously, we're still working with Westfield. Westfield have their own security on site, and we also have police here on site. So. Okay, thank you very much.